us rejoice, for we are one and free, with golden sorlin, wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage of Earth's Australia fair. In joyful strains, and let us sing of Earth's Australia
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome. I'm Bill Patterson, University Secretary and Director of Governance Support. Graduations are one of the university's most important events, and we are delighted to be resuming ceremonies in 2022. On occasion, the university seeks to honour individuals who have made extraordinary impacts upon society through the contributions they have made. Today, the university will bestow an honorary award upon one such individual. I would now like to introduce to you the people who are here on stage. Seated at the centre of the stage is Ms. Catherine Livingstone AO, Chancellor of the University, who will preside over this ceremony. The Chancellor is joined today by Professor Leslie Hitchens, Acting Vice-Chancellor and President, Mr. Andrew Penfold AM, Executive Director from the Australian Indigenous Education Foundation, who will be admitted as a Fellow of the University and to deliver today's occasional address. Professor Carl Rhodes, Dean of the UTS Business School, who will be presenting graduates, Professor Michael McDaniel AM, Pro Vice-Chancellor, Indigenous Leadership and Engagement. The other people seated on stage are Professor Anthony Dooley, Chair of Academic Board and Member of the University's Council, professors, academic and professional staff from faculties and institutes who have played such a large part in the success of today's graduates. It now gives me great pleasure to invite Ms. Catherine Livingstone AO, Chancellor, to formally open proceedings.
In the name of the Council, I declare this congregation of the University of Technology Sydney duly assembled. On behalf of the University of Technology Sydney, and before we begin the proceedings, and on behalf of all of those present, I would like to acknowledge and pay our respects to the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. It is upon their ancestral lands that UTS stands. And similarly, I would like to pay our respects to their elders both past and present, acknowledging them as the traditional custodians of knowledge for this place. In this graduation ceremony, we will celebrate the conferral of awards upon graduates from the UTS Business School. Today's ceremony marks a great achievement for the graduates and recognises the support which they have received from family and friends, many of whom are with us here today. We warmly welcome you, and together we congratulate and celebrate the achievements of the graduates. I will now ask the Acting Vice-Chancellor and President, Professor Leslie Hitchens, to present a candidate for admission as a Fellow of the University.
Chancellor, the Council of the University established the honour, the Fellow of the University, to be made in recognition of an outstanding contribution to the University's objectives. Chancellor, I present to you Mr. Andrew Penfold, AM. Mr. Andrew Penfold, AM, graduated from UTS in 1989 with a Bachelor of Laws honours. Mr. Penfold is the Executive Director of the Australian Indigenous Education Foundation, AIEF. He was formerly a finance lawyer and investment banker with 20 years' experience gained in leading international firms. In 2002, he tragically lost 12 friends in the Bali bombings. Shortly after, he made the decision to leave the business world. Mr. Penfold spent 5 years working on a full-time voluntary basis for a range of non-profit and charitable organisations, including establishing the Hong Kong Rugby Bali Fund, which resulted in a fundraising effort of more than $2 million for the families of Australian and Indonesian victims. Mr. Penfold was inspired to set up the St. Joseph's College Indigenous Fund after learning that his alma mater enrolled a small group of Indigenous boarders. Today, that fund continues to support 30 Indigenous students in perpetuity. In 2008, following the success of the St. Joseph's College Indigenous Fund, Mr. Penfold established the AIEF. With his wife, Michelle, Andrew set up the AIEF to provide similar support and scholarship programs in schools across Australia. The foundation provides scholarship funding for Indigenous students to complete Year 12 or tertiary studies with career support to help students successfully transition into their chosen fields. Through its programs, the foundation works with the schools and higher education institutions to provide financial resources to support ongoing Indigenous enrolments. The foundation's partners, which include Commonwealth Bank, Qantas, HSBC, KPMG, BHP, and News Corp, have raised $120 million towards their target of $140 million to help provide scholarships for up to 7,000 Indigenous students. In addition to his work with the foundation, Mr. Penfold sits on the board of the National Apology Foundation and the Sydney Advisory Council of the Centre for Social Impact. In 2014, he was recognised at the highest level when he was appointed a member of the Order of Australia for significant service to the Indigenous community. He was also a finalist for Australian of the Year in 2010. In 2013, he received the inaugural New South Wales Human Rights Award, becoming New South Wales Human Rights Ambassador for that year. He was named an inaugural member of the Prime Minister's Indigenous Advisory Council and received an Order of Merit from the Australian Institute of Company Directors. He also received the UTS Community Alumni Award 2013 and the UTS Chancellor's Award for Excellence in the same year. As a recipient of these awards, he became a member of the UTS Luminaries, a select group of UTS graduates with a sustained record of outstanding achievements. Mr. Penfold has made a significant contribution to philanthropic causes in Australia. In particular, his commitment to supporting positive outcomes in Indigenous communities and campaigning for young Indigenous Australians to have access to education. His work and the work of the AIEF align with UTS's vision and commitment to Indigenous self-determination. In acknowledgement of this outstanding contribution to Indigenous education, it is a great honour for the University of Technology Sydney to recognise Mr. Andrew Penfold AM with the award of the Fellow of the University. Chancellor, in recognition of his distinguished contribution to the University, I ask you to admit Andrew Penfold as a Fellow of the University.
So by the authority vested in me by the Council of the University of Technology, Sydney, I admit Mr. Andrew Penfold as a Fellow of the University. Well done. I will now ask the Acting Vice-Chancellor and President, Professor Leslie Hitchens, to present the winner of the Chancellor's Award for 2020.
Chancellor, one of the most important missions of universities is the creation and dissemination of knowledge through research and publication. This university endeavours to foster a climate conducive to research of the highest order. To this end, the Chancellor's Award is bestowed on persons who submit the most outstanding PhD theses each year. This award was established by the late Emeritus Professor Peter Johnson, the university's Foundation Chancellor. Chancellor, I present to you the winner of the Chancellor's Award for 2020, Dr. Alicia Mitchell, for the thesis entitled The Impact of Detection of Respiratory Viruses on At-Risk Patient Populations, from the Faculty of Science, supervised by Dr. Brian Gregory George Oliver and Associate Professor Lucy Morgan.
I now invite Professor Carl Rhodes, Dean of the UTS Business School, to present graduates.
Chancellor, I invite graduates in the UTS Business School to stand. Chancellor, the UTS Council has resolved that candidates recommended to it by the Faculty Board in Business as eligible for awards have completed all requirements of a course of study approved by the Board and has conferred these awards upon them. Chancellor, I now present those graduates from the UTS Business School who are here before you to acknowledge the awards for which they have qualified.
So on behalf of the Council of the University of Technology, Sydney, I congratulate graduates on their achievements in obtaining the awards for which they have now qualified. So very well done.
Graduates, please be seated. Chancellor, UTS Business School conducts innovative research across all major business disciplines. Our aim is to produce research which is not only academically excellent, but also knowledge that impacts the world in which we live. Chancellor, I present to you graduates receiving doctoral research degrees. The following students have graduated with the Doctor of Philosophy. Rebecca Lorena Backman for a thesis entitled Consequences of Director Workload. Chancellor, I present Dr. Rebecca Lorena Backman. Wen Juan Kai for a thesis entitled Workaholism, the Dark Side of Transformational Leadership. Chancellor, I present Dr. Wen Yuan Kai. Andrew Peter Dimmock for a thesis entitled The Impairment of Assets in the Australian Context. Chancellor, I present Dr. Andrew Peter Dimmock. Davina Michelle Jagannathan for a thesis entitled Demand and Career Outcomes for Directors with M&A Experience. Chancellor, I present Dr. Davina Michelle Jagannathan. Jonathan Raven Carlson for a thesis entitled Measuring Misconduct in Financial Markets. Chancellor, I present Dr. Jonathan Raven Carlson. Rayanne McBowie for a thesis entitled Political Corporate Social Responsibility and Corporate Ethics in the Confessional Democracy System of Lebanon. Chancellor, I present Dr. Rayanne McBowie. Phi Yen Phan for a thesis entitled Antecedents and Consequences of Supply Chain Innovation, Empirical Evidence from Vietnamese Agricultural Supply Chain. Chancellor, I present Dr. Phi Yen Phan. Hai Shun Jackie Yim for a thesis entitled Economic Implications of Anxiety and Depression in Cancer Care. Chancellor, I present Dr. Hai Shun Jackie Yim. Chancellor, we will now present to you our coursework graduates receiving awards today.
The following students have graduated with the Master of Business Analytics. Rati Raja. Master of Business Analytics Extension, Manasa Burli Nagendra. Rashmi Ravina Madhuma Patabediga. D. Fong Nam Nguyen. Master of Finance, Xian Zhi He. Ryan Vasi Ponzabi. Zihao Xu. Master of Finance, Master of Financial Analysis, Leia Marie Ariana Milud. Master of Marketing, Sanjana Budhalakwati. Cecilia Andrea Ferrada Alvarez. Arushi Gilotra. Xue Han Lin. Rishab Modi. Zheping Shen. Ajay Vishwanath Sivarama Krishnan. Hashni Subramaniam Ramesh. Devvrat Tiwari. Shin-Chi Yang. Master of Marketing, Bachelor of Business, Tian Yang Zhou. Master of Marketing, Graduate Diploma in Marketing with Credit, Stuart Campbell Reeves. Graduate Diploma in Event Management, Hafsa Sumer. Graduate Diploma in Financial Analysis, Anthony Charles Vassell. Graduate Diploma in Financial Planning with Distinction, Ratu Jone Ravetali. Graduate Diploma in Financial Planning with Credit, Bachelor of Business, Aidan John Curtis. Graduate Diploma in Not-for-Profit and Social Enterprise Management with Credit, Mary Beth Miranda Gaddard. Bachelor of Business with Distinction, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, Pedro Andrade Paez. Emma Mulholland. Emma Phyllis Phillips. Anja Sietas. Kimberly Weibenga. Bachelor of Business with Distinction, Bachelor of Languages and Cultures, Paul Sang Hyun Kim. Emily Su. Bachelor of Business with Distinction, Diploma in Innovation, Nicholas William Cranston. Cooper Sack. Bachelor of Business with Distinction, Adam Airy. Molly Sky Cameron. Joseph Lachlan Campbell. Kevin Carver. Harris Christopher. Amy Kaur. Frederick D. Compley. Jessica Handaya. Jacob Luke Hart. Marie Janssen. Nam An Lair. David Lewis. Samuel James Longo. Olivia Losurdo. Hannah Macri. Nazmi Ibn Mahmoud. Tommaso Aldo Mazzucco. Tara Marie McKellar. Thomas Samuel Meacham. Simone Gisela Myers. Johnny Nguyen. Paola Nicoletti. Amanda Rose Patmore. Robert Fonsavan. Mark Rizk. Claudia Russo. Campbell J. Saddington. Marco Salvatore Signorelli. Caitlin Stark. Victoria Madeline Tavares. Emily Van Dam. Melody Ragg. Bachelor of Business with Credit, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, Thomas King. Ryan Michael Line. Bachelor of Business with Credit, Bachelor of Languages and Cultures, Sarah Collins. Bachelor of Business with Credit, Diploma in Innovation, Tiana Badawi. Bachelor of Business with Credit, Georgia Araga. Sasha Regan Best. Sophia Cleary. Hannah Cuddy. Alessio Di Donato. Sophie Jane Diggin. Kimon Diomis. Tiana Louisa Dumakis. Sophie Hilton. Olivia Narelle Jackson. Karen Jung. Chelsea Angelica Kumala. Josephine Alicia Lim. Junje Jackie Lin. Talia Lucifero. Hannah Miller. Kelsey Miller. Dan Tuin Luzi Nguyen. Harvey Papastamos. Benjamin Pollack. Aaron Joshua Rebulado. Elizabeth Skripnikova. Jennifer Rose Strati. Jasmine Su. Zina Sukar. Clarissa Suryawan. Dylan James Thompson. Leo James Tilley. Jennifer Chan. Rupa Vallabhji. Michael Sean van Walsum. Alyssa Jane Vajani. Amanda Tien An Vo. Jennifer Wu. Madeline Weinstein. Eliza Kitami Wong. Jasmine Yuen. Michelle Y. Mun Tam. Bachelor of Business, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, Oliver Bruce Lefebvre. Bachelor of Business, Shafayat Hayat. Abdul Rahman Kandil. Edward Yao Xian Li. Talaha Hayat Malik. Thomas Jackson Richard Orton. Aaron Rong. Bachelor of Economics with Credit, Jiron Kaleha. Saif Eldin Elmala. Tse Guo Li. Tommy Nguyen. Joshua Roden Sabino. Bachelor of Economics, Ryan David Farlow. Anna D. An Tuyet Le. Aram Nashat. Lara Louise Willoughby.
Chancellor, this concludes the presentation of graduates from the UTS Business School.
So on behalf of UTS, I'd like again to say a huge congratulations to our new graduates and just as importantly to your family and friends who've given their support, love, understanding and I think a lot of their emotional fortitude to you as you've undertaken your studies. And finishing a degree or a diploma is a major milestone, and we certainly don't underestimate the hard work and the sacrifices that you've made in reaching this goal. But you should be very proud of what you have achieved, and your university is certainly extremely proud of you. Now, your graduation is actually one of the most important moments in your life and brings with it challenges as well as opportunities. So the opportunities have never been greater, I think that's fair to say. But a lot of that's to do with the fact that employers see in UTS graduates not just the quality of the education that you receive at UTS, but also its very practical nature. But the challenges in the workplace have probably never been greater. And we know that the scrutiny and expectations of society are already high and they continue to grow. So today I really would urge you all to maintain the highest level of professional and personal integrity. Confront with courage the inevitable ethical dilemmas which will arise, and remember the caution that the behaviour that you walk past is the behaviour you condone. But beyond the opportunities and the challenges, a graduation also signals that you have gained new knowledge. Use it wisely and responsibly. Make sure your impact is a positive one, that you're seen to give and not just to take. And I say this particularly given that you are graduates of a university of technology. Technology, as we know, can be applied for a huge force for good. But we do need to be alert to unintended consequences, and even more importantly, to the applications of technology which are intentionally not benign. There will, however, also be times where your knowledge alone is not enough, and you'll be called upon to make judgments where the answer is just simply not clear. Judgment is informed by experience, and particularly the experience gained through making mistakes, or what other people might call failures. We all make mistakes and we all fail. But the benefit is that this provides the best learning and builds the reserves of judgment on which we will later be able to draw. My challenge to all of you here today is to make sure that you create enough space and time to acquire and deepen your judgment skills. So turn off the laptop, turn off the iPhone, and just think. Think about the questions that you need to ask. Think about the answers that you receive, and then the judgments that you are called on to make. Now, of course, we hope that your relationship with UTS doesn't end here today. Your career will evolve in multiple directions, requiring new and continuous learning. And UTS is very focused on how it can support you, our alumni, in your lifelong learning needs. So we welcome you into the UTS alumni community, a global community. Stay involved and stay in touch, and know that the UTS Alumni Office is your lifelong connection to our great institution. So may I congratulate you all once again and wish you every success in applying the skills and the knowledge that you've acquired through your time at UTS. And with just no doubt that you will all have amazing careers, whatever choices you make. So on that note, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Andrew Penfold to deliver the occasional address this afternoon. Andrew.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me here today. I would like to acknowledge and express my deep appreciation and gratitude for this honour to the UTS Chancellor, Catherine Livingstone AO, Acting Provost and Senior Vice President, Professor Leslie Hitchens, Dean of the UTS Business School, Professor Carl Rhodes, University Secretary and Director of the Governance Support Unit, Mr. Bill Patterson, Professor Michael McDaniel, and distinguished members of faculty. And warmly welcome all guests, graduates, families and friends. I would also like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the traditional owners of the land on which we're gathered here today, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation and their elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today. I'd like you to take a moment to think about your own journey and the people who got you here today. The educational pathway you had through school, the challenges you faced getting through the HSC, your first class at UTS, the difficult subjects, the pressure of doing well in your exams and assignments, the late nights, the worry, questioning yourself, anxiety about getting your dream job, and all the mistakes you made and learned from along the way. In my life, I've learned a few things about how to get through those challenges and come out the other end. Is there anyone among us who has done this by themselves? You too saying that sometimes you can't make it on your own, but I think they're wrong. I'd say that if it's an ambitious, worthwhile and important dream, you can never make it on your own. It sounds contradictory because on the one hand, you can't do it alone, yet on the other hand, education is so powerful precisely because you have to do it by yourself. Let me explain. Every single one of us need good people in our lives who believe us and support us and believe in us. It certainly took a massive village of people to get me through. My mum was married and pregnant at the age of 19, cutting short her university studies. She lost her husband and my father 6 years later at 25, with 2 children to raise and without any money, career or qualifications. And it wasn't plain sailing for Mum to raise me. We grew up in Glebe when it was best known for the Glebe murderer, the wrong side of the tracks, and a far cry from the hipster student village it's become now. Mum's late nights and weekends at work in restaurants and bars left me with a lot of independence to run around the streets. And by the time I reached the male danger zone of 14, I was up to a lot of mischief and bouncing around school to school, completely disengaged from my education. My mother and grandmother begged and pleaded until I convinced the boarding school to give me one last chance, even though I rebelled and fought it every step of the way. And my sister Sally was always there to pull me into line when I was too young and foolish to listen to my mum. The intervention of boarding school changed my life. I felt like, at times, I spent more time in my first year running away in fights, detentions, and on suspension than I spent in the classroom. And my highest mark of 38% in that year was proof that that was true. But over the 4 years of boarding school, I went from the bottom of the class to the top of the class. And that was because of the teachers, the tutors, the coaches, friends and family who believed in me and got me through. I definitely could not have done that alone. It was hard for me to even understand why they believed in me when I hadn't really given anyone much reason to think that I even cared. In the rough and tumble of boarding school, there was a gentle giant named Tony Doyle who always had my back and always partied with me as well. He was there for me when I was 15, and he helped me through all of life's challenges and joys for the 40 years since then. I also met the love of my life while at boarding school. I was the disruptive, naughty rebel, and Michelle was the school prefect in the senior debating team, and she also became a UTS student. We've been together for the last 40 years, and we set up the Australian Indigenous Education Foundation together. Michelle is the rock that gets me through anything life can throw at me. When I decided to be a lawyer, and probably because it was the most ridiculously unachievable thing I could think of, the good folks here at UTS offered me a place in the law school, even though my HSC marks were below the cutoff. And instead of looking at my numbers on a piece of paper, they called me in for an interview and they took a chance and they believed in me. And that intervention also changed my life. The reason I have my dream job today with AIEF is because of the job I had before that. And the reason I had that job was because of the one before that. And so on, right back to when I was 20 and got offered a job as a legal clerk at Permanent Trustee by Rob Coombe when we were both students here at UTS. Rob is a board member of AIF since its inception and has been a friend, role model and mentor for me ever since I first worked with him in 1985. The first job Rob gave me at Permanent Trustee led me to my job as a lawyer at Mallison's. That job enabled me to get a job as a finance lawyer at Freshfields in London, which gave me the opportunity to move to Hong Kong with them and then to move into investment banking for 10 years in Asia. All that experience over 20 years with trusts, business, law and banking equipped me to leave it all behind when I was 38. And at that point I started doing full-time charity work when I lost all my Hong Kong rugby teammates in Bali in the bombings of 2002. That tragedy also was a pivotal moment for me, as I then started my work in Indigenous education and the establishment of AIEF. AIEF was a mammoth dream when I started this work 20 years ago. And it's still a work in progress, but we've changed thousands of lives already through providing educational scholarships to Indigenous kids. Every single achievement at AIF has been the result of three things: being united in a common endeavour with phenomenal people. I met Australia's most Herculean Indigenous leader, Warren Mundine, when I started out volunteering for 5 years in the Indigenous education space back in 2003. He became a founding director of AIF and is now its chairman. For those who have not studied Roman classical mythology, Hercules is famous for his strength and is a multifaceted figure with contradictory characteristics. Warren has always been there to give me strength in battles and to come into battle for the AIF kids who he is so passionate about. I met Renee Coffey at Kevin Rudd's 2020 summit in Canberra when he became Prime Minister in 2008. I immediately connected with Renee as a kindred spirit and asked her to come and work for AIF to help get it off the ground when we're still operating in my dining room. She's now AIF's Deputy CEO and has been its Praetorian Guard since we started it nearly 15 years ago. Without Renee, I don't think I would still be sane. I met Chris Mitchell in the early days of AIF when he was editor-in-chief at the Australian newspaper and the nation's most powerful and passionate advocate for Indigenous advancement. Chris was, and is, a true believer in AIF, and he used his considerable influence to bring the nation's thought leaders up to speed with the work of AIEF. And that's a legacy which all of his successors at the Australian and other leaders throughout the wider company continue to this day, with nation-changing consequences flowing from that, as AIF has now grown to become the largest and most successful independent scholarship program in Australia. Without my mum and grandmother, and Sally, Warren, Renee, Chris, Tony, Michelle, Rob, and UTS, and many others, AIEF would be a mere thought bubble. They have driven me, and they have driven AIEF's success. My life's dream. I could never have done it alone. Yet I started by saying that with education, you have to do it alone. If you come across somebody on the street who is cold, hungry, and homeless, you can give them a sandwich or a blanket, or you can help them find temporary shelter for the night. They don't really have to do anything other than to receive your kindness, and they no longer feel hungry, cold, or alone. And thank God there are so many beautiful people in this country who give this kindness and comfort to those in need. But nobody can give you an education like you can give someone a blanket or a sandwich. You have to do the reading, show up for classes, do the assignments, and pass the exams. This is why education is so powerful. It's you who has to do the hard work and earn it. It's yours. You own this achievement that we are celebrating here today, and nobody can ever take it away from you. I'm so deeply grateful to Sally and Michelle and Tony and Warren and Renee and Chris and Rob for believing in me and helping me work passionately towards accomplishing all the dreams I care about. I'm so humbled and grateful that they are actually all here today in person at the very place here at UTS that changed my life, so that I can thank them for doing that. And I hope that in doing so, it can be a reminder to you graduates, with your life ahead of you, to invest wisely in relationships and make sure that the people who believe in you know how much you appreciate them, as they are the people who will help make your dreams come true. Congratulations to each one of you graduates, and congratulations to your friends and families here with you today for believing in you. Keep making them proud and living a life that you can be proud of yourself. If you choose your inner circle wisely and work your guts out, you can achieve all of your dreams, transform lives, make your mums and dads and your children proud of you, and make Australia a better place. And if you're super lucky, the important people who helped you along will still be here with you in 40 years, just like my guests are that I've spoken about today. Be proud of your achievement and embrace the glow from the pride of your loved ones with you here. You've earned it. And as you embark on the next stage of your lives, I urge you to use your considerable power and influence to believe in others, look for the rough diamonds, and take a chance on people who had less opportunities or greater challenges to overcome. And as you two sang, tough, you think you've got the stuff. You're telling me and anyone you're hard enough. You don't have to put up a fight. You don't always have to be right. Let me take some of the punches for you tonight. Listen to me now. I need to let you know. You don't have to go it alone. Congratulations and thank you.
I would like to thank our occasional speaker, Mr. Andrew Penfold, AM, for the occasional address on this important day for you as UTS graduates. Andrew, I'm so pleased that UTS gave you an opportunity. How different your life journey might have been without that, and particularly the opportunity to study with Renee as well. But that is something, a value that we remain committed to, even as the university has evolved, that access and that equity. I'm sure graduates here today, you can all look back on the opportunities that you were given in different ways to enhance your education, your experience here at UTS, and the support and collaboration that you have had as you've journeyed through your time here. But most importantly, look on Andrew's experience and his courageous way in which he's allowed his career to develop. And be brave yourself in that as well, because you can have an extraordinary impact, as our occasional speaker, Mr. Andrew Penfold, has had today. So in conclusion, let me say that the best wishes and the pride of the university go with each and every UTS graduate. Congratulations again.
Ladies and gentlemen, that occasional address concludes the formal proceedings of this ceremony. The academic procession is about to leave the Great Hall. Would the congregation please rise for the academic procession?